Good morning, everyone. In the last session, we started our discussion related to how to retrieve the data from the database table by using data JPA. So data JPA provided repository interfaces like a CRUD repository and JPA repository. We have repository interfaces. In the CRUD repository, we have several methods like a save method, save all, find by ID, find all by ID, find all, count, exist by ID, delete all by ID, delete method, delete all method. Like that, there are several methods available when we go for CRUD repository. Okay, we developed one application and we practiced all those methods. Next one. Here, I want to perform a retrieval. So in order to perform the retrieval, we have three methods in the CRUD repository: find by ID, find all by ID, and find all. Find by ID method used to retrieve the record based on primary key. Find all by ID used to retrieve the record based on multiple primary keys. Find all method is to retrieve all the records available in the table. So these are the predefined methods we have to retrieve the data. Now I have a different requirement: retrieve users records who are belongs to India. Okay, so in order to retrieve the records who are belongs to India, then what should I do? I should write a query with where clause. Select star from user master, select star from user master where user country, where user country is equal to India. Like this, I need to write a where class, then I will get the records who are belongs to India. Right, next one, I want to retrieve the records whose age is below 25 or above 25. User age greater than or equal to 25. Now run this. So I'm getting all the four records. Suppose if I give as a 30, then I'm going to get only two records. So like this, I want to retrieve the records based on non-primary key columns. In this user master table, user ID is a primary key column. I want to retrieve the data based on non-primary key column. So to retrieve the data based on the non-primary key columns, we are using where class. But how to implement that in the data JPA? How to implement that in the data JPA? Are you guys clear with my requirement? Are you guys clear with my requirement? Retrieve users records who are belongs to India. So now for this, the SQL query will be like this. Select a star from user master where user country is equal to India. So this is the SQL query. This is the SQL query for the first requirement. When I go for second requirement, retrieve users whose age is below 30 years. Right, for this we are going to write this second query. Right, SQL. Okay, but here if you observe, I'm using user country in the where class. I'm using user age in the where class. Here user age and user country are primary key columns in the table or non-primary key columns in the table. They are primary key columns in the table or they are non-primary key columns in the table? They are non-primary key columns in the table. Do we have any method to retrieve the data based on non-primary key columns? In the CRUD repository, we don't have any method. Here, to retrieve the data based on the non-primary key columns, we don't have predefined methods. We have predefined methods to retrieve the data based on the primary key. You can pass one primary key, or you can pass multiple primary keys, or you can retrieve all the records. But to match our requirement, there is no predefined method in the CRUD repository. So in this situation, to implement this kind of requirements, in data JPA, we have below two options. One is by using find by methods, And the second one is by using custom queries. All right, guys, in the CRUD repository. Okay, next, find by methods. So what is the meaning of find by methods? Find by methods are used to construct the queries dynamically based on method name. Find by methods are used to construct queries based on method name. If we write a method name based on the requirement, we need to write the method. We based on our method name, data JPA is going to construct the query. Find by methods are used to construct queries based on method name. Method name is very important to prepare query dynamically. Method name is very important to prepare query dynamically. Now, let's take an example. Retrieve user data based on country name. Based on country name, I need to retrieve the user data. For this, what I will give right here, find by country name. Country name is a column. That column mapped to which variable? That column mapped to which variable? That column mapped to country variable. So you need to write find by country. Find by country string country name. You can supply as a parameter. So here find by is a fixed keyword. Based on which column you want to retrieve the data, that column name you need to specify in the variable. For example, if I go for retrieve user data based on user age. Okay, so for this, what is the method I need to write now? Find by user age. User age is the column name that is mapped to a variable. What is the variable name it is mapped? Variable name is a age. So here I'm going to write find by age. Age is a integer value. Find by age. So find by methods are used to construct queries based on method name. Method name is very important to prepare query dynamically. Based on our method name, JPA will prepare the query in runtime, and it will execute that. So if you want to retrieve the user data based on the country name, you need to write a method called find by country. Sir, can I write any method here? No, you need to follow proper syntax. Based on your method name, JPA should construct the query. So if you want to retrieve the data based on the country value, then find by is a fixed keyword and your variable name. Country is a variable name. That variable name is mapped to column called user country. Okay, next one. I want to retrieve the data based on user age. So to retrieve the data based on the user age, what we need to do? Find by age. Find by age. Find by is a fixed keyword. Age is a variable. This age variable mapped to user age column. So here method name should have a proper naming convention, proper syntax. Based on our method name, JPA will prepare the query in the runtime and it will execute that query, will give the result. It will execute that query, it will give the result. Are you able to understand how to write this? Are you able to understand how to write this? Yes. So find by method syntax. What is the find by method syntax? Find by plus variable name. Find by plus variable name parameters. Find by is a fixed keyword plus variable name you have to specify entity class variable name. Entity class variable name you have to specify. Entity class name you can specify. Whenever you are writing these methods now, you can follow camel case format. So instead of writing find by here, you can write find by. Instead of C, you can write like this. Understand? You can use method naming convention. Camel case formats also we can use. Camel case also we can use. Are you able to understand the syntax of find by methods? What is the purpose of find by methods? Find by methods are used to construct the queries based on method name. Method name is very important to prepare the query dynamically. Method name should follow proper syntax. Based on our method name, JPA will prepare the query in the runtime and it will execute. What is the syntax for the find by? Find by plus entity class variable name and parameter. Which entity class variable you will use? That entity class variable mapped column will be added to the where class. Retrieve user data based on country name. Find by country. Retrieve user data based on user age. Find by age. Now you can apply less than, greater than, equals, between, in, like that. You can do several conditions also. Note, find by methods are used for find by methods. Here I'm writing XX. That means it is a variable name. Find by methods are used for only retrieval operation. Only for retrieval operation. I mean to say select operation. Find by methods are used only for select operation. Sir, can I insert one record into table by using find by method? Can we insert one record into table by using find by method? Is it possible? Find by means it is only for retrieval. So if you want to perform a select operation based on the non-primary key, then only you can go for find by method. Then only you can go for find by method. Now let's go to our repository. Inside the repository, we need to write the find by methods. Find by methods we will write in the repository interface. Find by methods we will write in entity class or repository interface. So these are abstract methods. Find by methods we will write in the repository interface. These are abstract methods. We no need to provide the implementation for that. Implementation will be provided by data JPA. Now my first requirement, retrieve user records who are belongs to India. That means whose user country is equals to India. Okay, now let's write for India more than one user can be available. So I'm going to take public list of user. I'm taking public list of user. I'm writing find by what is the variable name? Country. Okay, string country name. Import that list. Yeah, now can you see find by country? Find by is a keyword. Country is the name of the variable which belongs to user country column, which map to user country column. Find by country. Now syntactically, is it valid, guys? Are we getting any exception here? Are we getting any exception here in the method name, or the method doesn't have any exception here? Do we have any exception in the method name, or we don't have any exception in the method name? We don't have any exception, right? So this is valid. Suppose for example, if I specify find by country name, here it is up to this, it is valid. Find by country name, it is not giving any problem. Find by countries, if I give find by countries. So but here you need to give proper variable name. What is that proper variable name? Find by country. Find by country. Now, let me execute this method. So this is a concrete method or this is the abstract method? Is it a concrete method or it is the abstract method? Concrete method means method will contain parameter body. Concrete method means method will contain the body. But here my method doesn't have a body, so it is a abstract method. So it will prepare a query. Select star from table where country name is equal to given country name. Which country you want to supply in the where class? Which country name you want to supply in the where class? You need to pass that as a method parameter. So this is find by method. Now go to application.java repository object we got. Now repository dot find by country. So let me pass the country as India. So this method is going to return list of entity. This method is going to return list of entity. Find by country dot for each. I'm getting one user. Then I'm going to print that user on the console. I'm printing that user on the console. Okay. Now here I'm writing one method called find by country. I'm giving the country name as a parameter. Now observe the behavior of the application. Right click, run as boot application. Right click, run as boot application. See the query which it is generating. We have show SQL. The query which generated will be printed on the console. It failed. It failed. Now see here what it is telling. Error creating bean with name user repository. It is failed. Query creation exception. Could not create query for abstract. Find by country reason. Failed to create. No property. Find by country found for user type user object. So whatever the method name we have given, it is not able to consider that method. Let me go and make a change. Find by country. Find by country. So what is this? Country. 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 Correct. Camel case. Find by country. Now let's write. Run as boot application. Now this time, is it executed properly now? Is it executed properly? Select star from table where user country is equal to given country value as India. So there are two users belongs to India. If you go to user master, Ramu Raju belongs to India. We are able to retrieve Ramu Raju records. Okay. So in this method syntax, guys, it is expecting camel case format. Find by country. Here also we need to use find by age. Find by country and find by age. Camel case format it is expecting. So with this method, am I able to retrieve the data of the users who are belongs to India? Yes. Now I want to retrieve the users whose age is 30. Now can you write a method? Can you write a method and send me? I want to retrieve the users who are having 30 years age. Who are belongs to 30 years age. Can you write the method and send me now? Can you write the method and can you send me now? Come on. find by age. Okay, see here, public list of user find by age. Okay, integer of age, find by age. Here age is a variable name. Find by age, age is a variable name. With this 30, whatever the age, either you can pass 25 or you can pass 30. So with that age, there can be more than one user. That's the reason I'm taking list of user, find by age. Okay, let's call this method. Let's call this method repository dot find by age. I'm giving 30. Okay, find by age I got. Let me iterate this. Find by age dot for each user. Let me print that user object. I'm giving the age as 30. Based on the 30, I want to retrieve the users. Go to our table, select that. Can you see with 30 how many users are available? Only one user available, John. So we should get only John record. Run as Java application or Spring Boot, anything is fine. Can we see that only we got the John record? Because John age is 30. Because John age is 30. You got it. Now I want to retrieve the users whose age is greater than or equal to 30. I want to retrieve the users whose age is greater than or equal to 30. 30 or 30 above. I want to retrieve those people. Okay. Can I write a method for that? Public list of user find by age, find by age. I'm writing find by age. Then guys, when I write this method find by age, when I do control space, you can use AND operator, before operator, equals, exists, greater than or equal to, in, ls, is before, is greater than, is less than, is null, is not null, or operator. Like that, there are so many conditions you can apply for your find by method. Now I want to go for greater than or equal. Now I am going to give integer age. I'm going for integer age. Find by age greater than equal. I'm giving integer age. So this method name is important. Method name is important. Method name is important. Okay. Public list of user find by age greater than equal. Now I'm going to call this method now. I'm going to call this method repository dot find by age greater than 30. The greater than or equal to 30. List I am going to get list dot for each user system dot out dot println user. Got it? Now run this application. See the query, how it is going to execute. Now, can you see that how the query is generated? Is it adding greater than or equal to in the where class? Where user age greater than or equal to given value. So based on that age given value, we got two records. There are two people who are belongs to age greater than or equal to 30. John age is 30, Smith age is 32. What about the remaining users? Oh, Raju Ramu age is 25 at 25 and 26. So with the given query, how many records we are able to retrieve? Two records we are able to retrieve. Those users age is greater than or equal to 30. Those users age is greater than or equal to 30. Are you guys able to understand this? Are you guys able to understand this? Now I want to list down the people whose age between 20 to 30. Okay. Public list of user find by age. Find by age. Find by age. Here is before, is greater than or equal to, is less than or equal to, or operator, and operator, or operator, and operator is available. Here do we have between operator? So no, between operator is not available. Between operator is not available. I want to retrieve the people who are belongs to India and USA. I want to retrieve the people who are belongs to country India and USA. Can you tell me the method? If the person is belongs to India or if the person is belongs to USA, I want to retrieve. Can you tell me that? Can you tell me the method? I want to retrieve the person who are belongs to India or USA, any country. Can you write a method for that? Find by method. Exist method. Prakash, पागल हो गया क्या आप? What is the purpose of exist method? Exist method to check whether record is presented or not. I want to retrieve the record. I want to retrieve the records of the users who are belongs to India or USA, anything, any country. Any country. First of all, in the SQL, how can we write that query? Can you write the query in the SQL to retrieve it? Forget about find by method. Can you write a query in the SQL to retrieve users belongs to India and USA, both? India users, USA users, I want to retrieve. Kapil, you are passing only one country. I want to pass two countries. In the database, how we will do that? Select a star from user country or user master where user country in operator we need to use India comma USA. See here how I am writing a SQL query. Select star from user master where user country in India USA. So I want to retrieve the users who are belongs to both countries. Now can you see 101, 102, 103 I'm getting. If you go to this normal query, we have 4 records. Smith belongs to Canada. 104 record belongs to Canada. When I use user country in India and USA, I got only 3 records. Smith record is not working. So is this valid SQL? Is this valid SQL? Come on, guys. In. So how to do that in? How to do that in public list of user find by country in. Find by country in. I'm going to specify list of string countries. Find by country in list of string countries. How many countries you want to supply in the where class? In class, you can supply that as a list. Find by country in list of countries. Now go here. Let's go here. Let me write a method. Repository dot find by country in. How many countries we can supply? List of countries, more than one. So how can we do that? Arrays dot as list of. I'm going to specify India comma USA. I'm going to specify this as a list. Observe. Find by country in arrays.asList, India and USA. Okay, run this. Run as boot application. Run as boot application. Now, can you see? We are able to retrieve 3 records where user country in 2 arguments we have supplied. 2 arguments we have supplied. So I got all the 3 users who are belongs to India or USA. So when you want to supply multiple values for the single column to retrieve the data, then we will use in clause. When you want to supply more than one value for the single column to retrieve the data, then we will go for in clause. Understood? When you want to supply more than one value for the single column, then we need to go for in clause. Okay, next one. I have a requirement. Retrieve the user records. Retrieve the user records who is belongs to India and age is 30 or age is 25. Indian users whose age is 25, I want to retrieve them. A user who is belongs to India with 25 years age, I want to retrieve. Can you write can you write the SQL query for that? Can you write the SQL query for that? Come on. Write the SQL query first. I want to retrieve users belongs to India and age is 25. What is the SQL query we are going to write? Select star from user master where user country is equal to India and user age is equal to 25. Where clause with and operator. Where clause with and operator. Are you guys getting my point? Where clause with and operator. Select star from user master where user country is equal to India and user age is equal to 25. Now, can you write a find by method for this? This is my query. Can you write a find by method for this? I want to retrieve the data based on 2 columns data. One is user country, another one is user age. One is user country, another one is user age. One is user country, another one is age. Tell me, how can I retrieve the data from 2 columns? How can I retrieve the data from 2 columns? Simple. Public list of user find by country and age. Now I'm going to specify string country name, integer age. You understand the method now? Find by country and age. So I want to supply the data for 2 columns. For those 2 columns, I need to use AND operator. Find by age and country. String name comma integer age. Right, good. Let's go and call this method. Repository dot find by country and age. Country name I'm giving as India. Age I'm giving as 25. List. Okay. Let's run this query. Run as boot app. Can we see that only one record we are getting? See the query generated where user country is equal to given value, user age is equal to given value. So based on our method name, the query is getting constructed or not. Based on our method name, query is constructing or not. Yes or no? If you want to use the third column, then you need to write and here, country and age, and one more column also you can write. I want to retrieve the people who are belongs to India, whose age is 25, whose gender is male. Can you write a method for that? Country name should be India, age should be 25, gender should be male. Can you write a SQL query for that? Can you write a SQL query for that? Come on, guys. Come on. In the SQL, how to write that query? Select star from user master where user gender is equal to male. Where user gender is equal to male. Along with this, I'm going to specify this. User country is equal to India and user age is equal to 25 and user gender is equal to male. Retrieve. User country is equal to India, age is equal to 25 and gender is equal to male. Yes. Are we getting only single record? Are we getting only single record? Yes. How to write a find by method for this now? Yeah. Public list of user find by country and age and gender. So string country name, integer age, string gender. Find by country and age and gender. So how many columns I'm using in the where class? How many columns I'm using in the where class? 3 columns I'm using in the where class. So how beautiful it is. Based on our method name, query is constructing. Am I writing the query or I'm just writing a method name? Am I writing the query? Am I just writing the method name? Only method name. That too, is it a concrete method or it is an abstract method? Is it a concrete method? It is an abstract method. So do we need to appreciate JPA or not? Do we need to appreciate JPA or not? JPA is a beautiful concept. See, now imagine how you use it to retrieve the data in the JDBC, how we are retrieving the data in the JPA. In the JDBC, you need to write class dot for name driver, driver manager dot get connection dot create statement dot execute query, then result set, process the result set, then connection dot close. Lot of every line of JDBC will give exception. Now see how technology is changing in the market. Whenever we use JDBC, we use it to write 7 to 8 lines of code in a method. We need to write a method. In that method, we need to write 7 to 8 lines of code to retrieve the record from the table. But today, just one line abstract method we are writing. With that, we are able to retrieve the data. With that, we are able to retrieve the data. So you have to update your skill set. That is what industry is expecting. Got it, guys? Clear? Fine. Let's call this method also and see how the query got prepared. Find by country and age and gender. So India 25 and male. 3 columns data I am supplying in the single method. Run as boot application. Yes, one record matching. See the query which is generated by that, where user country is equal to given value, user age is equal to given value, user gender is equal to given value. Based on 3 columns data, we are retrieving our records. Based on 3 columns data, we are retrieving our records. So this query will be generated by this method. Select star from user master where user country. So to execute this kind of query, we are writing this method. That means this method will internally generate this query. Okay. Find by age. Select star from user master where user age is equal to given value, some 25 or 30, whatever it is. Okay. So this query will be prepared by this method. Select a star from user master where user country is equal to India. I'm writing this query. Next one, select a star from user master where user age is equal to this value. Now, if I want to apply greater than, where user age greater than or equal to 30, any value you can supply dynamically. So these values we can specify as parameter. These are parameters, positional parameter. Value is not hard coded, value is a dynamic. We are taking that as a method parameter. How to retrieve the data? By passing multiple values to the same column by using in clause. Select a star from user master where country in list of values. You can supply multiple values. Okay. Now, can you see this, guys? Are you guys clear with the find by methods? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scenarios we have covered. 6 scenarios we have covered. Are you able to understand this? Now, so you can use less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, like this. If you just use find by column name, find by variable name, it will apply equals. If you use just find by country, it is using user country equals to this given value. If you use find by age, it is using user age is equal to given value. If you go for find by age greater than equal, it is using greater than or equal symbol. Similarly, less than equal you can use, in class you can use, and operator you can use, or operator we can use, and operator we can use, or operator we can use. Okay. Can I use more than one column in the where class? Can I use more than one column in the where class? Yes. Find by country and age and gender. Like this, I'm using 3 columns in the where class to retrieve the data. So here you can use AND operator as well as you can use OR operator also. You can use AND operator as well as you can use OR operator also. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Yes. So who is creating the queries? Are we creating the queries or JPA is creating the queries? Are we creating the queries? JPA creating the queries? JPA creating. How it is creating? Based on the method name. based on the method name. Based on our method name, JPA is creating. So simple. Find by means select a star from table. Where class we are supplying. Where class we are supplying. Based on our method name, it is preparing the query and it is executing that query. Based on the method name, it is preparing the query and it is executing our query. Are you guys clear? Are you clear? Come on, guys. Next one. Next one. Custom queries. Next one. Custom queries. Custom queries. Here, guys, when you go for data JPA find by methods, are we creating the query or we are asking the JPA to create the query? Are we creating the query or we are asking the JPA to create the query? We are asking JPA to create the query. Okay. Now, I am not interested to tell the JPA to create the query. I will only write the query. I will write the query. JPA should execute my query. I will write the query. JPA should execute my query. Okay. Now I am going to remove all these things. Now I'm going to remove all these things. This is just a methods calling. Someone is asking, please give this code also. Idiot. You don't know how to call these methods? Nitish Kumar, you are asking me to share this code also. What is the code here? It's just calling the methods. You don't know how to call the methods. You people are habituated to copy pasting. You need to write all this code on your own. Why are you paying 7,000 rupees and why are you joining this course? Just to take my code, or you need to learn the coding? What reference, man? What is the reference, Anita? What reference you need here? You need to write the code on your own. If you copy my code, if you copy my methods, you will not learn anything. Zero. I should not give these methods also because you need to write these methods on your own. Then only you will learn the subject. Then only you will learn the subject. I should not give you, but I'm giving you because it is a new concept. I am giving these methods. Somebody asking, give the start class code also. What I am doing in the start class? Object dot method name. You don't know how to create, how to call the method by using object. When I have given the repository interface, can't you call the methods in the start class? People are behaving like LKG kids. You are learning Spring Boot, the last topic in the Java. Don't forget that. Please share the code. Why you joined the course? All this code is available in the internet. Why you paid 7,000 to Ashok IT and why you joined this course? To take the code or to learn the coding? Come out from that childish mentality. Faculty should share the code, then we have to practice. You joined here to learn the coding, not to take the code. So I'm teaching you each and every step. How I am writing this code, what is the scenario, what is the find by syntax, how this is working internally. Again, you people are asking. Again, you people are asking, share the code. I'm against to share the code. Already I have given, yes. You just need to call those methods. Next, let's go for custom queries. We have predefined methods to execute, find by ID, save all. Like that, we have some predefined methods to perform the operations. We have predefined methods to perform the operations. If those predefined methods are not satisfying our requirement, then we need to go for find by methods. By using find by methods, we are able to retrieve the data. So in the find by method, Programmer is writing the query, JPA is constructing that query. Programmer is writing the query, JPA is constructing the query. JPA is constructing the query. Now, I don't want JPA to construct the query. I want to write my own query. I want to write my own query. We can write our own query in the JPA and we can execute. We can write our own query and we can execute using JPA. That is called custom query. As of now, JPA is creating a query and JPA is executing that query. That is called as custom query. Custom queries we can write in two ways. Custom queries we can write in two ways. One is by using HQL queries. One is by using HQL queries. Second one is by using native SQL queries. We can write our own query and we can execute that query using JPA. That is called as custom query. I want to write my own query and I want to execute my own query by using JPA. I don't want the JPA to prepare the query for me. I don't want to use a JPA predefined method. I don't want to use the JPA predefined method. I want to write my own query. I want to execute my query using JPA. That is called as custom query. We can write our own query and we can execute that query using JPA. That is called as custom query. How many ways we can write the custom queries, guys? In how many ways we can write the custom queries? Custom queries we can write in two ways. One is by using HQL queries. Second one is by using native SQL queries. Native SQL queries. What is the difference between HQL and native SQL? What is the difference between native SQL and HQL? Native SQL queries are DB dependent. Native SQL queries are DB dependent. HQL queries are DB independent. HQL queries are DB independent. Native queries will use table name and column names in the query directly. HQL queries will use entity class name and entity class variable names in the query. Native SQL queries are DB dependent. They are specific to particular database. Every database will have a SQL language. Oracle will have a SQL with some syntaxes. MySQL database will have a SQL with some syntaxes. Postgres will have a SQL with some syntaxes. So every database will have their own SQL language. How the Java having some syntaxes, how C language having some syntaxes, how Python having some syntaxes. Similarly, our database also will have some syntax in the SQL. One database SQL may not compatible with another database SQL. Whatever the queries I'm executing in the Oracle database may not support in the MySQL database. For example, if I want to represent the data type, in the Oracle we will represent as a number, in the MySQL we will represent as an integer. The data type name is different. So like this, the SQL language syntaxes are not same for all the databases. The SQL syntaxes are not same for all the databases. Okay, native SQL queries are nothing but databases dependents. Native SQL queries are DB dependent. HQL queries are DB independent. Native queries will use table name and column names in the query directly, whereas SQL queries will use entity class name and entity class variable names in the query. Entity class names in the query. Native SQL queries will execute with the database directly. Native SQL queries will execute in database directly. SQL queries cannot execute in database directly. SQL queries cannot execute in DB directly. Are you guys getting my point? So we can write our own queries in the JPA. To write our own queries in the JPA, we have a concept called custom queries concept. I have predefined methods. I can go for find by methods, or I can execute my own queries also. So if we want to execute our own queries, then we will go for native SQL. If you want to go for our own queries, then we will go for native SQL. We'll go for native SQL. Getting my point? Native SQL we are going to use. Here, HQL queries are available, native SQL queries are available. What is the difference between HQL queries and native SQL queries? Native SQL queries are database dependent. So Oracle will have a SQL language, MySQL will have a SQL language, MySQL will have a SQL language, Postgres will have their own SQL language. Native SQL queries are DB dependent. HQL queries are DB independent. HQL queries we can use with any database. These are database independent queries. Native queries will use a table name and column names in the query directly. HQL queries will use entity class name and entity class variable name in the query. Instead of using table name and column names in the SQL query, we are going to use entity class name and entity class variable names in the query. Native SQL queries will execute in the database directly. HQL queries cannot execute in the database directly. HQL queries will be converted to SQL using dialect class. HQL queries will be converted to SQL query. HQL queries will be converted to SQL query using dialect class. HQL queries will be converted to SQL query using dialect class. So what is the purpose of going for this? Let's try to understand. I have my application and my application is communicating with a database called Oracle database. Oracle DB. Oracle DB. So this is Java application. In this Java application, I have created 5,000 queries. 5,000 DB operations are available. So 5,000 SQLs. 5,000 SQL queries are available in my Java application. So my application is communicating with Oracle database. So all these queries based on the user request, these 5,000 SQL queries are going to execute. I have a Java application. In this Java application, 5,000 SQL queries I have written. Those SQL queries are belongs to Oracle database syntax SQL. Okay, my application is running successfully. Everything is happy. 6 months completed. Then client told that, Ashok, I don't have money to purchase Oracle license every year. I don't have money to purchase the Oracle license every year. Can you change our application from Oracle database to MySQL database, which is free of cost? Can we change our application from Oracle database to MySQL database because I don't have money? Now, my application should communicate with the MySQL database. Initially, we implemented our project by using Oracle database. So to communicate with the Oracle database, we have implemented the queries with the Oracle syntaxes. So application completely tested, it is working. We delivered our application to the client. 6 months completed, client business not running successfully. Client asked us that to change the project from the Oracle database to MySQL database. Client asked us to change the project from Oracle database to MySQL database. Can you guarantee that 5,000 queries will execute in the MySQL database as it is? If I just change the database details, is it going to execute? So client told that change the database from the Oracle to MySQL. Can I just go to my project properties file instead of the Oracle properties? Can I configure MySQL properties? Can I run my project? Can I run my project? We don't know out of 5,000. We don't know out of 5,000 how many queries will work in MySQL, how many queries will not work in the MySQL. We need to test entire project functionality once again, because we changed the database. Every database will have their own SQL. Every database will have their own SQL. Initially, we developed our project by using Oracle database. So I have created the SQL queries as per Oracle syntax. So 5,000 queries I have implemented with the Oracle syntaxes. Oracle SQL language I used to develop the 5,000 queries. My application tested. 1 month it took to test my application perfectly. It is working. But client don't have the money to purchase the license of the Oracle. Client asked us to change from the Oracle database to MySQL database. So changing from one database to another database is just a property change, or we need to change the queries also? Is it just a property change, or we need to change the queries also? Come on. Queries also. Do we have one query, two query, or we have 5,000 queries? We have 5,000 queries. After changing 5,000 queries again, do we need to test them? They are working or not? It is very difficult process. This is the problem when you go for SQL queries. SQL queries are database dependent. So you understand my point? SQL queries are database dependent. So whenever you write a SQL query, the SQL query will be compatible with one database. Few queries will support in all the databases, but few queries will not support in all the databases. Every database will have their own SQL language. Every database will have their own SQL language. Are you guys clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Native SQL queries, if you go for native SQL queries, this is the problem. If you go for native SQL queries, this is the problem. Your SQL queries are dependent with the database. Tomorrow, if you want to change your application from one database to another database, your SQL queries may not work. You need to change the queries. You need to execute your application. You need to test the queries. Lot of things you need to do manually. Lot of things you need to do manually. It is burden. It is burden. To overcome this problem, what we are going to do in the Java application, we are not going to write the SQL queries. We are going to write HQL queries, 5,000 HQL queries. 5,000 HQL queries I am going to write here. Now, these HQL queries I want to execute in Oracle DB. These HQL queries I want to execute in Oracle DB, or I want to execute these HQL queries in MySQL DB. I want to execute them in PostgreSQL DB. Like, so I am writing HQL queries. What is HQL? HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. HQL stands for what? Hibernate Query Language. These HQL queries are not specific to any database. HQL queries are not specific to any database. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. They are not belongs to any database. First of all, Database cannot understand what is a HQL. HQL is a framework related concept. Hibernate query language. In my application, instead of writing SQL queries, I'm going to write a HQL queries. Why? HQL queries are database independent. SQL queries are DB dependent. HQL queries are DB independent. Understood? Can I execute these HQL queries in the Oracle database directly? Not possible, because Oracle knows only SQL. Oracle don't know what is a HQL. Oracle knows only SQL. Oracle don't know what is a HQL. Are you clear with my point? Are you guys clear with my point? Oracle knows SQL or Oracle knows a HQL? Oracle knows SQL or Oracle knows a HQL? Oracle knows only SQL. SQL stands for structured query language. Structured query language. So as Oracle knows SQL, my application want to communicate with Oracle. Can I write direct SQL queries in the project? Can I write directly SQL queries in the project? If I write SQL queries in the project, what is the problem? If I write SQL queries, what is the problem? Database dependent. Tomorrow, if I want to change the project from one database to another database, I need to change all the queries. I need to test all the queries. Lot of time it is going to take to change all the queries and to test all the queries. So instead of writing SQL queries, can I go for HQL queries? Yes, I will go for HQL. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. HQL queries can be executed in the database directly. HQL queries cannot execute in the database directly. Cannot execute in the database directly. HQL queries are framework queries. Hibernate query language. Now, here, whatever the HQL query we are writing, that HQL query cannot be executed in the Oracle, cannot be executed in the MySQL, cannot execute in the Postgres. HQL queries are database independent. SQL queries are database dependent. HQL queries are database independent. Now, in order to convert, in order to convert HQL queries to database queries, there is a concept called dialect. There is a concept called dialect. Now, HQL queries will be given as an input for the dialect. Now, dialect class is going to convert the queries to SQL to execute in the database. Database can understand only SQL. But in our project, we are not writing the SQL. If we write the SQL query, then that query will become database dependent. I want to write my application with database independent queries. So if you want to develop the application with database independent queries, then go and write the HQL query. So if you go for HQL, then how to execute the HQL query in the database? HQL query cannot be executed in the database directly. When you execute a HQL query will be converted to SQL query by the dialect class. Then that SQL query will be executed in the database. Right. So tomorrow, when you want to change your application from one database to another database, do you need to change anything? Do you need to change anything? If you use a HQL queries, if you want to convert your application from one database to another database, do you need to do anything for that? No. Who will take care of the conversion of your queries to SQL queries, which is a database understandable format? Dialect class. Now here, for every database, there is a dialect class. Here, Oracle dialect available. For Oracle database, we are having Oracle dialect class. For Oracle database, there is a Oracle dialect class available. For MySQL database, there is a MySQL dialect is available. MySQL dialect class available. And there is Postgres dialect class available. So whenever you are using Oracle database, then Oracle dialect class will come. Oracle dialect class will convert the HQL queries to Oracle SQL query. Oracle SQL query. So this dialect class is like our JVM. What our JVM is doing? Our JVM is taking the dot class file and converting the code into machine understandable. If you are running your program on the Windows machine, JVM will convert your bytecode into Windows machine understandable format. If you are running the dot class file in the Linux machine, JVM will take the dot class file, will convert the bytecode into Linux machine understandable format. Similarly, for every database, there is a dialect class. For every database, there is a dialect class. Whenever we write the HQL query, dialect class is used to convert the HQL queries to database understandable format queries. So database will understand which query? Database will understand SQL query. Dialect class is given by our Hibernate. In the Hibernate, we have the dialect classes. For every database, there is a dialect class. Now, how it will Hibernate will understand which dialect to use? Based on your driver class, it will understand which dialect it has to use. Currently, which driver I have configured here? Currently, which driver I have configured here? MySQL driver. So which dialect class it is going to use now? Which dialect class it is going to use now? MySQL dialect. If I configure Oracle driver, then what will happen? It will use Oracle dialect class. So what is the dialect class is going to do? The dialect class is going to convert our HQL query to SQL query, which is compatible with Oracle database. So tomorrow, if I want to change my application from Oracle database to MySQL database, what I need to change? Do I need to change all the 5,000 queries? I just need to change my data source properties. If I want to change my application from one database to another database, what I need to change? I need to change all the 5,000 queries in the application, or I need to change only data source properties. How much time it will take to change the data source properties? 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Just we need to change the data source properties. If I configure Oracle data source properties, then Oracle dialect will use Oracle dialect class will convert my HQL queries to Oracle SQL queries. If I want to connect with Postgres SQL, I will configure Postgres SQL database data source properties. HQL queries will be converted to Postgres SQL understandable queries. Now you understand the difference between SQL queries and HQL queries. Now let me show you dialect class. Here I am calling some method. Okay, now I'm not calling any method, just use this. Run this project, run as boot application, go to the console, go to the console. Can you see this? What is this? What is this? Which dialect it is using, guys? Is it using the dialect class now or not? JPA internally using the dialect class or not? Did I specify anywhere to use dialect class? Did I specify that anywhere to use dialect class? How it is using that dialect as MySQL dialect? Why it is using MySQL dialect? Application properties contains a MySQL driver class in the data source. So it understood that it has to use MySQL dialect class to convert the HQL queries to SQL queries. Somebody is asking how to connect with two databases. Shilpa. Shilpa, if I give you 1 kg cake, can you eat that in a single shot? Or you need to eat piece by piece? If I give you 1 kg cake, can you eat that in the single shot? Everything will come. Please have some patience. Please have some patience. Everything will come. If you want me to teach you how to connect with two databases, simple example I will show you. I have that application ready, but if I explain that application now, you will not come to the classes from tomorrow. If I explain how to connect with the multiple databases in the Spring Boot, you will not come to the tomorrow's class. I'm sure. Yeah, see here, there is a project, multi-DB configuration class. Connecting with multiple databases is not a easy task. Okay, so I'm going to show you like this. I will explain this code. Will you understand anything from here? Enable transaction management, enable JPA repositories, create the data source bin, create the transaction manager, create the transaction manager. I will explain this code today. Can you understand that? This is used to connect with multiple databases. Got it, guys? Why I am not explaining how to connect with multiple databases? Currently, your skill set is not sufficient to understand that concept. Currently, you don't have that maturity to understand this concept, because still we need to learn a lot of things. We need to get some more maturity. Then only we need to discuss about how to connect with multiple databases. It is a very big topic. It will take 2 hours to understand. So now if I explain how to connect with multiple databases, I'm sure 90% of the people will not come to tomorrow's class. यार क्या बोल रहा है यार ये बंदा, कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा. That is what you are going to tell. Okay? Have some patience, guys. I will discuss everything. Now you have seen me from last 1 month. Are we going in a proper direction, proper pattern? Yes. So 1 month completed with me. You guys can understand how useful that 1 month for you, how much benefit you got in the last 1 month of our classes. Okay? Yeah. Somebody is asking how to call a procedure. Hold on. I have not explained those classes, and I did not tell that today is the last session for the JPA. Today is not the last session. We are in the starting stage of the data JPA. We are just understanding how to use the predefined methods, how to write find by methods, how to write custom queries. Okay, fine, good. Everything will be covered, whatever I have mentioned in the course content document. So if you go to our website, Spring Boot Microservices, there you can see course content, download course content. When I say our batch is completing, then you can check this document. If I miss anything, then you can ask the question. Okay, so you need to give me that time till this topics completed. So at the end of the batch, I will tell you 1 week before, in the next 1 week our classes are going to complete. Then you can compare with this document. If I miss anything, then you can ask me. Okay, so but I'm not going to follow the same order of the components which is mentioned in the document, but everything will be covered by end of the batch. Got it, guys? So lot of things are available here. We are going to learn all those things. I will make you a perfect Spring Boot microservices developer. Aram say you can keep 3 to 4 years experience in the Spring Boot microservices once our batch is completed. Whatever I know in the Spring Boot microservices, everything I'm teaching. I'm not just teaching with money. I'm teaching with my heart. So I have a passion for teaching. You can see the difference between other trainers and Ashok. Okay? Guys, did you observe the difference? Did you observe the difference? I'm not just teaching for money. Teaching is my passion. I'm teaching with my heart. No trainer will spend this much time, will not give you this much content with the internals, doubts, clarifications, solving your problems. Nobody will do that. So you are in the right place. Utilize this properly. Okay, chalo. Now we are talking about dialect. So what is a dialect class? Dialect classes are used to convert our HQL queries to SQL queries. Now, tell me, if I use SQL queries, what is the problem? If I use HQL queries, what is the benefit? Can anyone tell me what is the problem with SQL query and what is the benefit with the HQL query? SQL queries are DB dependent. So tomorrow when we change the database, SQL queries also we need to change. Changing SQL queries is difficult, and testing those queries functionality is also difficult. Entire project we have to retest when you change the query. Instead of that headache, can I write a database independent queries? Yes, we can write the database independent queries. So what are the database independent queries? HQL. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language. Databases knows HQL, databases don't know HQL. Databases knows HQL, databases don't know HQL. Databases don't know HQL. Can we execute HQL directly in the database? We cannot. We cannot. Now, in order to run the HQL query, we need a dialect. What is the responsibility of the dialect? Dialect classes are used to convert the HQL queries to database understandable query. Database understandable query is SQL query. If you configure Oracle driver in the properties file, then our JPA application will use Oracle dialect class to convert our HQL queries to Oracle SQL query. If you use MySQL data source properties in the project, then MySQL driver you are going to configure. MySQL dialect class will convert this HQL queries to MySQL database understandable SQL query. So between the database and HQL, dialect class will be available. How many dialect classes are available in the Hibernate? Hibernate supports for 30 different databases. So for every database, there is a dialect class in the Hibernate. So using that dialect class, that HQL query converting to SQL, and that SQL query is executing with the database. So tomorrow I want to change my application from Oracle database to MySQL or MySQL database to Oracle. So if I use HQL query, how much time it will take to migrate from one database to another database? How much time it will take to migrate from one database to another database? Come on, just 1 minute. Just changing data source properties. Suppose if I want to change from one database to another database with native SQL, if I want to change from one database to another database with native SQL, minimum 1 month, because all the queries we need to change and we need to test entire functionality. Lot of time it is going to take. But HQL queries means very less time. Now tell me, which one is recommended to use in the project? Which one is recommended to use in the project? SQL queries are recommended, HQL queries are recommended. Guys, apply your common sense and tell me. Everybody telling HQL. Apply your common sense and tell me which query we need to use in the project now. SQL query or HQL query? Which one is recommended? Which one is recommended to use in the project? SQL or HQL? HQL is best. SQL is best. HQL is best. It depends upon the requirement, guys. See, when you go for HQL, maintenance is easy, but the performance will be down. Every query should be converted to SQL before execution. So query execution will take some time, query conversion will take some time. So which queries will take more time to execute? Which queries will take more time to execute? SQL queries will take more time or HQL queries will take more time? SQL query means directly execute in the database. SQL query means directly execute in the database. But HQL query should be converted to SQL. Conversion will take some time, then execution will take some time. So which one is recommended now? Which one is recommended now? Performance wise, SQL is recommended because SQL queries will directly execute in the database. Maintenance wise, HQL queries are recommended. So it depends upon the, suppose for example, I'm developing one application with banking operations. In my banking operations application, forget about the maintenance. Performance is most important for me. Users should not feel any delay in the request processing. If you are giving high priority to the performance, then go for SQL queries only, because those queries can be executed in the database directly. Query execution will be faster. Query execution will be faster. My application performance is not that much priority. I want luxury in the development. If you want luxury, if you want comfort in the development, if you want easy maintenance, then go for HQL queries. Are you clear with my point? In my application, I am working for a credit card management system for USA bank. In my application, we are using SQL queries only. The reason, performance is the top priority for us. My bank is having so much money. Tomorrow, if they want to change one database to another database, they can do that. They can purchase the licenses of the databases. They have crores of money, dollars, $1 million of money they have. Their top priority is performance. Application should execute very fast. So if application want to execute very quickly, you need to go for HQL queries or you need to go for SQL queries. Guys, are you getting my point? Now tell me when to go for SQL, when to go for HQL. When to go for SQL, when to go for HQL. Are you guys getting my point? Yes. If you want to execute the queries quickly, if you want to execute your application faster, then SQL queries are recommended. If you want easy maintenance for your application, then we can go for HQL queries. Are you clear? Are you clear with my point? Good. Now understand. How many ways we can execute our queries in the data JPA? Custom queries. We can write our own query and we can execute that query using JPA, that is called as custom query. Custom queries we can write in two ways. One is HQL queries. Second one is native SQL queries. Native SQL queries are DB dependent. HQL queries are DB independent. In native SQL query, we will use a table name and column names in the query directly. Whereas in the HQL queries, we will use entity class name and entity class variable names in the query. Native SQL queries will execute in the database directly. HQL queries cannot execute in the DB directly. HQL queries will be converted to SQL query using dialect class before execution. Before execution. SQL queries are recommended performance wise. As SQL queries are executing directly, as SQL queries are executing directly, performance wise, speed, performance wise, they are good. Performance wise, they are good. HQL queries should be converted before execution. HQL queries should be converted before execution. Hence, HQL queries will take more time for execute. Will take more time than SQL queries. Okay. Performance wise, SQL queries are good. Performance wise, SQL queries are good. Maintenance wise, maintenance wise, HQL queries are good. So are you able to understand all these points now? I'm not just writing the theoretical points, guys. I'm explaining also what is the reason behind that. Good. So read these points. Guys, more 10 minutes. We'll take a break. Are you guys clear with this? Are you guys clear with this? Yeah. Now let's start writing the SQL query and a HQL query. SQL. I'm going to write one SQL query. Select star from user master. Select star from user master. So if you see, it is a SQL query or it is a HQL query. It is a SQL query. Select star from user master. Select star from user master. What is the meaning of select star from user master? What is the meaning of select star from user master? Retrieve all the records from the database table. It is a SQL. How to write a HQL query for that? SQL query will use table name and column names in the query directly. HQL query will use entity class name, entity class variable names in the query. For example, if you want to retrieve all the records from the user master table from user, that's it. Here, user is an entity class which belongs to user master. From user, this is the query. That's it. That's it. This is a HQL query. From user means select star from user master. Simple, na? This is the SQL query and this is the HQL query. Retrieve all records from table. Retrieve all records from table. Retrieve all the records from the table. So to retrieve all the records from the table, this is going to be my SQL and this is going to my HQL. For example, retrieve all records of users who are belongs to India, who are belongs to country India, who are belongs to country India. Can you tell me SQL query for that? Can you tell me SQL query for that? Come on, guys. I want to retrieve the users who are belongs to India. Can you tell me SQL query? Come on. Write the SQL query for this requirement. Select star from user master. What is the column name? Where user country is equal to India. Am I right? Am I right? Select star from user master where user country is equal to India. Okay. Here user master is a table name. User country is a column name. If you see here, select star from user master. User master is the table name. User country is the column name. In the SQL query, I am using table names and column names directly. Right. I want to write HQL query for this. I want to write a HQL query for this. From user where country is equal to India. That's it. What is this user? User is an entity class which is belongs to user master. What is this country? Country is a variable which is mapped to user country column. Which is mapped to user country column. Got it? From user, nothing but select star from user where country is equal to India. So can you see this statement now? Can you see this statement now? Native SQL queries will use table name and column names in the query directly, whereas HQL queries will use entity class name and entity class variable names in the query. Okay. Select star from user master. I'm giving the table name. Okay. Now from user, we are retrieving. Select star from user master where country is equal to India. Now I want to retrieve the people who are belongs to India and age is 25. Come on. Retrieve users who are belongs to India and age is 25. First write SQL query for that. Can you tell me SQL query for this requirement? Retrieve users who are belongs to India and age is 25. Make it fast. Make it fast. Select star from user master where user country is equal to India and user age is equal to 25. Yes. Now, can we write a HQL for this? Can we write a HQL for this? Come on, guys. From user class name, entity class name, where country is equal to India and age is equal to 25. That's it. That's it. Understood? Yes. Now, guys, in the database, there is a concept called selection and projection. Selection nothing but retrieving specific rows from the table. Selection. Select a star from table where user country is equal to India. That means this is called selection. I'm selecting specific records from the table by using star. What is the meaning of star? Star means all the columns we are going to retrieve. Now I want to retrieve specific columns from the records. Projection. I need to go for projection. What is that? Select user ID, comma, username, where user country is equal to India. So am I retrieving all the columns or I'm retrieving only 2 columns now? I'm retrieving only 2 columns now. User ID. What is that column name? User underscore ID. User underscore ID, comma username, where user country. Select user ID username from user master. Where user country is equal to India. Can you see that I got only ID and name? Can you see that I got only ID and name? So what is this? Can I say it is a projection? Can I say it is a projection? Yes, fine. Now I want to retrieve ID and name, retrieve user ID and username based on user country. ID and username based on user country. Okay, for this I'm writing this SQL. Now identify the HQL. Identify the HQL. Can you write the HQL for this? Can you write the HQL for this? Come on. Yeah. Here there is a little tricky. There is a little tricky. When your query want to retrieve all the columns, then your query will start with the from keyword. From user, it is going to retrieve all. But here, my requirement is not all the columns. My requirement is not all the columns. I am going for projection. When you go for projection, our query also will start with the select. Select. What is the variable names I have? User ID, username. Select user ID, comma, username from user where country is equal to India. See, earlier my query starting with the from keyword. Now my query starting with the select keyword. When to start HQL query with the from keyword? When to start HQL query with the select keyword? When to start query with the from keyword? When to start query with the select keyword? Come on, tell me. If a query doesn't have a projection, then you need to start with the from keyword. If a query having a projection, then we need to start with the select keyword. Okay. If we don't want to apply, if we don't have projection, then we can start HQL query with from keyword. If we have projection, then we need to start with select keyword. Then we need to start with select keyword. Projection means retrieving specific columns data from the table. Projections means retrieving specific columns data from the table. Okay. Are you guys clear with this? How to write HQL queries now? It is a new language, new query language we are learning. Native SQL versus HQL. So if you want to write your own queries to execute, then you will go for custom queries concept. We can write the custom queries in two ways. One is HQL query. Second one is native SQL. Native SQL queries are DB dependent. HQL queries are DB independent. Native queries we will use, in the native queries we will use table names and column names directly. Okay. Native SQL queries will execute in the database directly. HQL queries cannot execute in the DB directly. HQL queries will be converted to SQL queries using dialect class. Every database in Hibernate, we have a dialect class for every database. In Hibernate, we have dialect classes for every database. In Hibernate, we have dialect classes for every database. If you use Oracle database, it will use Oracle dialect. If you use MySQL database, it will use MySQL dialect. If you use MongoDB, Mongo dialect will be available. So for every DB, one dialect class is available. SQL queries are executing directly with data. SQL queries are executing directly in DB. Hence, performance-wise, they are good. HQL queries should be converted before execution. Hence, HQL queries will take more time than SQL queries for execution. Performance-wise, SQL queries are good. Maintenance-wise, HQL queries are good. So here I have given some syntaxes to write SQL queries and HQL queries. Next, to write the HQL queries in J to write HQL queries. To write custom queries, basically to write custom queries, we will use @query annotation in repository interface. If you want to work with the find by methods, then we have created those methods, right? In the repository, we have created those methods like this. Now I want to write a custom query. See here, public list of user get all users. This is my method, get all users. For this method, I want to execute a custom query. For this, I'm going to write query annotation. I'm going to write query value is equal to, I'm going to write from user. From user. What is the meaning of from user? What is the meaning of from user? Can you tell me? It is a SQL query or it is a HQL query? It is a SQL query. It is a HQL query. It is a HQL query. Get all users HQL from user. Suppose I want to retrieve get all users, list of user, get all users SQL. Okay, here we are going to write @query value is equal to select star from user master, native query is equal to true. We are going to specify this. Whenever you write a query, by default it will be considered as a HQL query. Whenever you write a query, by default it will be considered as a HQL query. If you want to write a native SQL query, you need to specify native query is equal to true. That means it is a SQL query. It is a SQL query. Are you guys able to understand how to write custom queries? So to write a custom query, I'm writing one method that is also abstract method. In this abstract method, I'm specifying @query annotation. In that query, I'm writing the query. This is my HQL query. I no need to tell that it is HQL. By default, it will consider this as a HQL only. But when I go for this, I need to specify native query is equal to true. Then only it will understand that it is a native SQL query. Native SQL query means it will be executed directly with the database. When it go for HQL, this HQL query will be converted to SQL by using dialect class. Which dialect it will use to convert this query now depends upon your driver class. What is the driver class we have? MySQL driver. So it is going to use which class? MySQL dialect class. Can we call that method once? Can we see that? Repository dot get all users HQL query I am calling. HQL query I am calling users. See, get all users HQL query I am calling. It is having a query from user. What is from user? User is a entity. It is binded to user master table. Now print these users. Users dot for each user. I'm going to print system.out.println of user. System.out.println of user. Are you guys clear with my point? Do I need to do the method implementation? Do I need to do the method implementation, or JPA will do the method implementation? You no need to do anything, man. JPA will do that. We are telling to JPA to execute this query. JPA will do the implementation for our method. We no need to do that. Are we doing the method implementation for find by methods? Am I doing the method implementation for find by methods? Same thing. You no need to do the method implementation for custom queries also. JPA will do that. That is the power of the JPA. That is the power of the JPA. If you go for Hibernate, do we have this facility? If you go for Hibernate, do we have this facility? In the Hibernate, you need to write the query, you need to execute the query. But in the JPA, we are just telling which query it has to execute. In the JPA, we are just telling which query it has to execute. That's it. That's it. Chalo. Now, let's go here. Let's run this. See the query on the console. Run our application. Guys, query is executed like this. Select from user master. Did I write this SQL query, or this SQL query generated by the JPA now? It is retrieving all the records. Whatever the HQL query I have executed, from user, is it executing as it is, or this query is converted to SQL query here? That query is executing as it is, or that query is converted to SQL? Query is converted to SQL. Who converted that query to SQL? Who converted that query to SQL? Dialect class converted that query to SQL. Driver class or dialect class? Don't get confused, Anish Singh. It is not a driver class. It is a dialect class. Driver class is different. Dialect class is different. Driver class is used to establish connection with the database. Dialect class is used to convert our HQL queries to SQL queries. Okay, fine. Now, can we call SQL query now? Can we call the SQL query? Repository dot get all users SQL. Get all users SQL. Earlier I called HQL query method. Now I am calling SQL query method. What is the query available? Native SQL. How you will write the query in the database? Same query I am writing. Select star from user master. Select star from user master. Or else let me do one thing. Let me call both. Let me call both. I will show you one difference here. Users. Okay. Let me write one separator. Guys, so you see, here I am calling HQL method to retrieve all the records. Here I am calling SQL method to retrieve all the records. So see the difference. Run as boot app. 2 times I am retrieving the table data. First time I am using HQL. Second time I am using SQL. Can you see? First time when I called HQL, query is generated. Second time, query is executing as it is. When I give SQL query, is my query executing as it is? Whatever the query I have given, is it executing as it is? But this HQL query is executing as it is. HQL query converted to SQL query. Can you feel the difference now? Can you feel the difference between SQL query and HQL query? HQL queries are converted to SQL queries before execution, because HQL is a Hibernate query language. Databases will not know HQL. So whatever the HQL query I have executed here, this HQL query converted to SQL query before execution. So it will take more time. First it has to convert, then it has to execute. But what is happening here? What is happening here? What happened here? Direct. सीधा execute हो जा रहा है भाई. Directly it is executing with the database. So performance wise, which will be better? Performance wise, this is better or this is better? परफॉर्मेंस वाइज SQL बेटर बिकॉज डायरेक्टली सीधा वो एग्जीक्यूट हो जा रहा, बट HQL कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा. Who is converting the HQL to SQL? Who is converting HQL to SQL? Dialect class. Which dialect class it is using here? Which dialect class it is using here? Can you see which dialect class it is using? MySQL dialect it is using. Why it is using MySQL dialect? Why it is using MySQL dialect? Because we have MySQL driver. We are using MySQL database. You understood? Now, I want to write one HQL query to retrieve the data based on the country name. Yes, let me write a method. Get users by country. Get users by country. Get users by country. I'm going to specify string country name. So what is the query now? What is the query now? Can you tell me the query now? I want to retrieve the users based on the country. Can you tell me the query? From user where country is equal to. Can I give India directly hard-coded value? Is it recommended to give the hard-coded value? No. There is a concept called positional parameter. Whatever the value I pass to my method, this parameter value I want to supply to where clause in the query. That's why method parameter name we will give as a positional parameter. Whatever the value I supply to my method, that value will be stored to this positional parameter. Whatever the value I supply, that value will be stored to this query positional parameter. Now go here. I'm going to retrieve this. I'm going to retrieve this. Get users by country. What is the method? Get users by country. So I'm giving the country name as a India. I'm giving the country name as a India. Okay, run this. Run as boot application. First one, retrieving all the records by using HQL. Second one, retrieved SQL query. Directly query is executed. Third one, converted the HQL query to SQL. Only India user records we are able to retrieve. Is it retrieving only? First time it retrieved all the 4 records by using HQL from user. Second one is a native SQL query. Third one is HQL query with the where clause. How I am supplying where clause to the method parameter value to the query parameter? Whatever your method variable name is available, this you can supply here. This is called named positional parameter. From user where country is equal to colon CNAME. Colon represents a positional parameter. CNAME is a named positional parameter. Whatever the value you supply when you call this method as a method parameter, that method parameter will be stored to country equal to that value. So it will become select star from country user master where country is equal to given value. So you understood how to supply the values to the queries dynamically. You understood how to supply the values to the queries dynamically. Yes, like this you can write custom queries. Like this you can write the custom queries. Positional parameters you can use for both HQL, native SQL, both. If you want to supply 2 values, same thing na. Suppose I want to retrieve the data based on country and age. Then क्या करना पड़ेगा? Get all users by get all users with get all users by country and age. String country name, integer age. String country name, integer age. Then and age colon age is equal to colon of age. That's it. From user where country is equal to CNAME and age is equal to age. If I give A here, if I give B here, then I can give A here, I can give B here. First parameter should be country value, second parameter should be age value. Instead of giving A and B, I am following this readability. I'm following this readability, country name and age. So here, whatever the first parameter value will come, I want to store into this country. Whatever the second parameter comes, I want to store into age. I want to store into age. So are you able to understand how I am supplying the values to this? How I am supplying method parameter values to the query values? By using named positional parameter. Whatever the method parameter value will come, this method parameter value I want to set to country value, country column. Whatever the second parameter is coming, I want to set it to age column. This value will be stored here. This value will be stored here. Kapil, what is there to explain, man? Colon is a parameter representation. Colon is used to represent the parameter, positional parameter. I don't want to hard code. I don't want to hard code the values. That is the reason I am giving named positional parameter. Order can be anything because I am not using the indexes. I am using the name. So whenever you use a parameter name, order can be anything. Order can be anything. So this is named positional parameter we are using in the HQL query. What is the purpose of named positional parameter? Named positional parameters are used to supply the value to the query dynamically. Dynamic values. If I give country name is equal to India, then what will happen? Always it will execute only India query. Select star from users where country is equal to India. I want to retrieve Canada users. I want to retrieve Australia users. How can I do that? Is it recommended to hard code the value? No. So what we will do? We are going to specify positional parameter. Whatever your method parameter name available, then we need to set that. You need to set that. So whenever you call this method, whatever you pass as a method parameter, that value will be supplied to this column name. This is called positional parameter concept. So you can use multiple positional parameters also in the query. The order is not important. Order is not important. Clear? So I hope you got the concept of what is find by methods and what is custom queries. What is native SQL and what is HQL. Today's class is damn important. Some people missed today's session. Tomorrow they will cry. Today's session is damn important. I planned the long session because so this concept I can't explain within 1 hour. If I explain 1 hour and if I explain the remaining in the next session, you will lose that confidence. So that is the reason I have taken everything in the single class. Find by methods and custom queries. It is a damn important topic in the data JPA. So with this, are you able to understand how to perform the crowd operations in the data JPA by using predefined methods, by using custom queries, and by using find by methods? Got it? Let's observe these queries once. All right, guys. Good. Fine. By using custom queries, can we update the records? Custom queries are only for retrieval, or can we update the records? Can we insert the records? Can we delete the records by using custom queries? Yes, we can update and we can delete. We can update, we can delete, we can insert. Can you guys try updating, deleting, inserting as a assignment? Can you guys try updating, deleting, inserting using custom queries as a assignment? Yes, good. Fine, guys. So with this, let's stop this. Let's take a break and let's connect after 30 minutes. So it is 9:15. Now we are going to start at 9:45. I'm going to explain JPA repository. So let's connect at 9:45. We'll continue for another 1 hour and we will learn JPA repository. Okay. Thank you guys. So please have your breakfast and come back in 30 minutes. We'll continue again with JPA repository topic. Very, very important. Very, very, very important. So don't miss that. Thank you.